Alright, so if you're wondering where this car's been the last month or so, I rebuilt the engine. Go watch that playlist if you want to see that. Anyway, I rebuilt everything right, I'm pretty sure. Except the fact that the piston rod connecting nut thingies, they're supposed to be torqued down to 45 foot-pounds of whatever's. And I torqued them down to 70 foot-pounds. So the engine is cranking really slow and whatnot. So that's the deal with that. The plan is I'm going to rebuild the engine inside the car without pulling the engine, basically. So we have a hoist here, and we might use that to replace the engine mounts because those are kind of getting rotten out. But the plan is I'm going to rebuild this engine without pulling the engine. All right, first we want to go ahead and do the right thing, which is using our $15 Amazon fender skirt thingies to protect the paint. Even though the microfiber on this probably scratches the paint more than your arms and tools and crap would. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and do the right thing. And I'm gonna just jump right into it. I've already disconnected all the spark plug wire thingies. I'm gonna start loosening all the head bolts. Actually, no, I should probably do the radiator, drain that first because I don't want to make a mess with coolant. So I'm gonna drain the radiator and crap before I do the head, actually. See this little drain plug way down, right about there. You wanna line a bucket up underneath. So then when you drain it, all your coolant misses that bucket. If you're good at this, you'll miss it, and if you're bad at lining up your bucket, you'll still miss. So this is really kind of pointless because you're gonna spill coolant either way. But you know, you can save a couple of pennies and nickels if you know, line up your bucket correctly. Now, like I said, this is a very scientific measurement of lining your bucket up. You're gonna put it right about where you think it's gonna go, and you're gonna spill all your coolant anyway. But like I said, you can save a couple of pennies and nickels if you do the step correctly. You know what I mean? So as you can see, I've lined my bucket up very precisely. Now we're gonna crack this valve here, spin her on out, and we should spill all of our coolant. As you can see, all of our coolant is now ending up on the floor. Hey, some of it's in the bucket, that's nice. As you can see now, it's all ending up in the bucket. So we're real professionals at this now. We really know what we're doing, all right? We're saving ourselves a couple of pennies and dimes and cents and things and whatnot. Anyway, I'm gonna let that drain, and while that drains, I guess I can assist it, maybe. Yeah, look at that. Give it some pressure. Help it drain a little quicker. Just gotta encourage it, you know what I mean? And since I'm actually making it in the bucket, you may say, how do you do that? You have to have like a 16-year college degree to not spill coolant when you're doing an engine rebuild. It's just a fact of life. It's a lot of dedication, but you could do it. You know what? I'm not discriminating. And I wasn't lying about this degree. 16 years in the making, certified coolant drainer, or whatever you spell it like. Now I'm gonna go ahead and assist the draining. Now be careful with this stuff because you get like kidney failure, something like that if you drink it or whatever. So I'm gonna do the healthy thing and blow right into this tube and expose my mouth to all the coolant that's in there, you know. See what I'm telling you? They just designed this crap to make it spill all over the place. I only spilled a little bit though, so we're doing pretty good. All right, so the coolant's still draining. I'm gonna get the sparky thingy, remover thingy, and remove the spark plugs, because that's one thing I didn't torque down too tight. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Then I'll contemplate if I want to do the head or the carburetor, or, you know, or if I want to do that tomorrow when I'm trying to ignore my homework that I have to do. But we'll make that decision after the spark plugs, you know, one step at a time. All right, it's a couple days later. I decided to get this head off. I'm gonna have to remove carburetor and oil filter probably, and some of this type of stuff. But all the coolant's drained, and so I'm gonna work on this head now. All right, all the head bolts are loose, and carburetor stuff is off, so I can just take that off anyway. You know, they're all loose for the most part. you know, not fully, but now I gotta spend the next 8,370,000 or however old this car is, amount of time getting these bolts off. Gotta do this for like 10 hours times 21. So, all right, the head bolts are all out, but gotta loosen the oil thingies and the ignition coil and take this from the distributor, because, you know, can't get ahead of ourselves, all right? That's how you damage things. I'm gonna take that off too. Alrighty, now everything's loose, and these heads really take a specific magic to come off, right? You just kind of, yeah, oh, there we go. And yet you want to ruin the head gasket and everything when you're taking this off. And okay, let's see if we can get this off here. Well, let's open this on. Hold up. Oh, there we go. Throw that to the side. Hello. You don't need to be picky, do we?
One eternity later.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yep. Let's see if this will come off or not. And if we won't, we'll have just wasted time and we could have just cut it. There we go. Now to lift this school bus off the top of this engine. Probably weigh the similar weight. Oh my gosh. And you gotta make sure to take breaks and lift with your back and not your, or you know what I mean. Okay. Second try. There we go. Now we gotta be careful not to scratch the original paint here. I guess we're just gonna lift from the bottom like a box. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's go set this on down. See, now that's not so hard, is it? Alright, here's the head. It's off. I think this is some of our problem. I put gasket maker on the head. Apparently you're not supposed to do that, but whatever. It's on the valve, and I'll have to clean this up again. That's one thing I kind of lazied out on, which I probably should clean up when I pull them out again, is these piston things. Clean up the heads a little bit more. I thought it would just burn off if it ran, but it didn't ran. So I'm gonna take all this stuff out so I can rotate the engine without anything interfering. All right, since that's off now, I'm just taking this lightning cube off because I don't want 12,000 volts being shot out of that hole to, you know, flammable stuff and things, you know. So make sure to take pictures and whatnot, so there's just the one single wire to the positive and the two to the negative, so you don't confuse things. All right, now we hook up the battery, and then I'm gonna just go crank it over and see what happens. All right, let's go turn the key. Or not. Hold the phone. Hold it. Need to check some things. It's not cranking. All right, let's try this again. Nothing. We got power. Let's do some more checking. All right, with multimeter pocket device thingy, this is kind of weird. I got to put the power, let's see if I can do this here. I got to put the power here and there. Anyway, basically what's happening as I tested stuff, it's getting volts all the way to here. You know, 6 volts is supposed to be, it's a 6 volt system. Somehow we're getting negative volts to the starter. So, yeah. So I didn't touch nothing besides getting tinkled on the starter thing, and it's giving negative volts. But the engine decided to crank over for me. I I don't know. It's like magic. All right, now watch carefully here. Let's show you here. Okay, no more cranking because, like I said, the issue with this engine was connecting rod, things that connect these to the pistons, whatnot stuff and things are too tight, and that's what made it so it didn't start, I think. So it rotates. I think everything moves. But you get the point. Alright, now I'm gonna check the block, make sure there's no warpage or nothing there. So you're gonna get your dirtiest piece of wood in the whole entire garage. And you're gonna place it on the engine, preferably one that goes through all the cylinders like so. Oh, hold up. And you're gonna make sure it doesn't wiggle back and, like, you know, it wiggles this way, but it doesn't wiggle this way. And that there's no gap in between any of the cylinders and things and stuff. So I think we're good. You know, just want to double check. And you're gonna make sure you plug in your battery because you want to keep these buggers in good health. This one's expensive. It's good old Optima. It's 6 volts, so it's $250. Make sure it's in a good health. Just go and plug her in. See? Charging. Look at that. I already think that's it for tonight, but before I do that, I'm gonna test the rings to see if those are holding, because they're brand new rings, but I don't know if they got worn down somehow or what the deal would have been. But I'm gonna go ahead and put some Marvel Mystery Oil. You know, it's a mystery what's in there. And I'm gonna just dab a little along here and in the cylinder. You know, you want to be real specific. Nope. I'm gonna just fill that cylinder. See what I see. Oh, I can already see some bubbles. That's unfortunate. We'll let that sit overnight and see how much leaks and really test the rings. Alright, so all the pistons are full. So we'll hopefully see all of that still in there tomorrow. If it leaks through, then could just be because of the rings haven't fully seated because they're new rings and takes like 500 bajillion miles to set them. And since the engine hasn't run yet, if it does leak, it's not a huge deal. But, you know, hopefully they won't even leak at all. Or this might help seal them, you never know. Alright, so it's the next day, or night, or whatever. And the mystery oil is gone. It's a mystery where it went, you know. It leaked down the rings somehow. So I don't know if the rings are somehow got worn down. I don't know. They're brand new rings, so they could just be not worn in yet. Because they take like 500 to 1,000 miles to fully get worn into the walls to work properly. So that could just be why they're leaking or whatnot. But so I'm not overly concerned, but that is a little concerning. I was going to put some more on the cylinders, but that might have to wait till tomorrow because, you know, these little safety things, so 6-year-olds can't drink this stuff. Apparently it's also, you know, it just gets stuck on there. So I might get some pliers to get that off. So these plumbing pliers aren't even getting them off. I was like pushing down and rotating, and it's a whole thing. After a little bit of wrestling, we got it off. So I'm gonna pour a little bit in the cylinders to see if it leaks again. And, you know, then I'll have to do more research on why it's leaking if it does leak again. But, you know. Way too much. Perfect. Alright, the cylinders are all full, so we'll see that in the morning. But, gotta be gentle putting this back on. We don't want to have that issue again. And also, we're gonna have to get a new one of these temperature sensor thingy. We got a new one, but the way the gauge thingy fit in there, it snapped right off. So, that's a problem. And now those are sitting, so I'm gonna let those sit. And I think that's gonna do it for this video. But if you want to see if the rings leak, go ahead, check out the other video. The rest, I'll have the whole entire playlist, you know, with that video linked down below in the description. Go ahead, watch all those. I hate making you guys wait, but can't make these videos too long. You know what I mean?